Following a good diet is a great start to improving your health, but it's not just about what you eat, but also about what your body can actually absorb and use. If your digestive system isn't working efficiently, you could be missing out on key nutrients, even from the healthiest foods. So let's dive into how you can maximize your nutrient uptake and ensure your body gets the most out of your meals. Okay, so to start off, nutrient absorption happens primarily in your small intestine, where nutrients from the food you eat pass through the intestinal lining and into your bloodstream. This process relies on several factors: the food you eat, how well your digestive system is functioning, and the health of your gut lining and microbiome. If any part of the system is out of balance, you may not be absorbing nutrients properly, which can lead to deficiencies over time. So let's talk about a few basic steps that you can take to optimize the whole process. Step one is pretty obvious, and it is to chew your food thoroughly. One of the simplest and most overlooked steps in improving nutrient absorption is just chewing your food more. Digestion begins in the mouth, where saliva starts breaking down food into smaller, more manageable pieces. When you chew thoroughly, you increase the surface area of your food, making it easier for your stomach acid and enzymes to do their job later on. Try to chew each bite 20 to 30 times or until the food has a soft paste-like consistency. Not only does this improve absorption, but it also prevents overeating by giving your brain time to recognize when you're full. Step two is to support stomach acid production. Stomach acid is critical for several reasons. For example, it neutralizes harmful pathogens like yeast and bacteria through its acidic properties. This is important to avoid food poisoning or an upset of the delicate balance of gut bacteria. The acidity also activates pepsin, the protein digesting enzyme that is required alongside hydrochloric acid to split apart the protein molecules to get to the actual amino acids that your body can absorb. And stomach acid also helps make other nutrients in the food more accessible. For example, the absorption of minerals also primarily takes place in the small intestine, but this can only happen if the minerals are in an ionic form. Stomach acid helps ionize the minerals in food, so without it, your food can be super nutrient dense, but you won't absorb any of the nutrients properly. I talk about boosting stomach acid levels naturally in more detail in a different video. But in terms of nutrients that your body needs to create it, the most important ones are zinc, B vitamins, especially B1 and B6, and chloride. So definitely make sure to not be deficient in those. Within holistic circles, you will also find a lot of people suggesting to start your meals with something bitter, like arugula, dandelion greens, or a small amount of apple cider vinegar. While the bitter compounds help stimulate the production of gastric juices, including stomach acid, this doesn't happen if your body doesn't have the raw materials to create it in the first place, which again brings us back to the nutrients that I talked about earlier. As a quick fix solution, you can also supplement with betaine hydrochloride. It is the closest thing we have to supplementing hydrochloric acid directly, and it significantly lowers the pH level in your stomach. So it makes it more acidic, which is why it should only be taken together with meals. Step 3 is to optimize digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes are proteins your body produces to break down food into nutrients that can be absorbed and used. When enzyme production is insufficient or impaired, it can lead to bloating, gas, and lower than optimal nutrient absorption. Digestive enzymes are produced primarily in the pancreas, stomach, and small intestine, and they target specific types of macronutrients. Here's an overview of the most important enzymes and which nutrients they help break down, along with foods and supplements that provide them or support the production of them. You can screenshot this overview for later use if you want. In step 4, you want to take care of your gut lining. Your intestinal lining is the gateway for nutrients to enter your bloodstream, so keeping it healthy is essential. If the gut lining is inflamed or damaged, nutrient absorption will suffer. Just like for the production of stomach acid, your body needs specific nutrients to support your intestinal lining. the most important of which is the amino acid glutamine. That's because it fuels intestinal cells and helps repair the gut lining. It plays a vital role in maintaining the tight junctions between cells, which prevent harmful substances from leaking into the bloodstream. The second most important nutrient here is zinc again, because it supports cell regeneration and reduces inflammation. A zinc deficiency has been linked to increased intestinal permeability, and many people nowadays are borderline zinc deficient, so keep this in mind. And lastly, we have vitamin A, which works together with zinc and supports the production and function of mucus in the gut. Mucus acts as a protective layer over the intestinal lining, and it also plays a role in immune system regulation within the gut. Once you have all of these steps covered, the next step is to balance your gut microbiome. This is also discussed in much more detail in a different video. The most important thing to note here is that a healthy gut microbiome is key to nutrient absorption because the bacteria in your gut actually play a direct role in breaking down food and helping produce certain vitamins like B12 and K2. So if you suffer from dysbiosis, the vitamin production in your gut will also suffer. Before I wrap up this video, the last thing I want to talk about are antinutrients. These are compounds in foods that interfere with nutrient absorption. For instance, phytic acid in grains and legumes can reduce the absorption of minerals like iron and zinc. Or oxalic acid in spinach can bind to calcium, making it less available. While these foods are still healthy and most people don't need to avoid them completely, proper preparation methods like soaking, sprouting, and cooking can reduce their anti-nutrient content. For example, soaking grains activates an enzyme called phytase. Phytase is already present in the grain, but it can only do its work in water. As it is activated, it begins breaking down the phytic acid into its components, which also releases more minerals from the grain and leads to less binding to other nutrients in other foods that you eat along with the grain.